a good old BA, same thing, practically. Steering wheel. It is that steering wheel time. Look at the steering wheel on this one. Very unroadworthy. You can see it's really deteriorated on the higher points. If you've got a really good steering wheel, it's always handy, especially like you see the Momo steering wheels, they're like $800 or whatever, and just get a steering wheel cover and then take it off if you're gonna just sit there and display it. But yeah, this is what happens to the steering wheels. Very bad. Okay, so behind here, if you look right over, where are we? It's hard with the phone sometimes. Alright, under there's one there, and one on the adjacent side too, and they're T30s. So I'm using one of these. That's a T30. So you'll take those off first, and that will release. You also got to put your steering wheel on a hard lock. The first one I went down on is on. The first one I went down on. I pulled down on the right for the first one. So I'm going to get that bolt out, show you what it looks like, and that's the first procedure of removing the. Now, always be careful with airbags. Everyone says it. These are deadly things if they're not coming out at the right time, and we just want to be safe when we're removing these. So we'll just take out those 2 screws first. We'll go from there. Prior to removing these airbags, before you remove the steering wheel, make sure you disconnect the battery. Also put your after you disconnect the battery, put your headlights on and stuff like that. Just make sure there's no residual power in the lines. Wait about 5 to 10 minutes, give or take, just to try and be as safe as possible. And next, to get your other one, you can't get it any other way out except for up the top. So bring your steering wheel a little bit more up to around the same angle, and you can get access. 100%, you can get access to that little mongrel. That's there. So that's your 2 you want to start off with to get this girl out. Now the other thing with your T30 tool, once you crack it, the bolt gets loose, and then you don't, if you can help it, get something like this, just like your little drill head one, like that. And I just stuck it in like an extension socket in there. There's another guy I've seen on YouTube who works on cars, and he's only got one arm. My hat goes off to him. Well done. I'll see if I can bring that up in the channel, but amazing what he does. Well done. Hard enough with 2 arms. Yeah, so just that, and then you can get the bolt out a lot quicker and easier. So that's just a little tip. So we're back at the steering wheel and the center airbag. Now once they get pretty loose, I mean, they don't feel like they come out all the way, you just give this a bit of a, with both hands, just a little bit of a up and down effect, and it pops. Right now, behind here you got your beautiful airbag plugs. All right, now they should be, as far as I know, they're color coded, so you can't make a mistake putting them back. But when they come out, because they're going to come out in a second, I'll just have a look for a second how the squeeze points work. 1 sec. Okay, so I'm back. I ripped that out. Now these see on your finer points, just there, that real small one. Gotta cut my nail, it's going to be long. And there's another little squeeze one on the other side, so it's just a squeeze in. You need more nail. I need more of a nail on this side. You need them both to be squashed in like that, squashed in, and pull out. It's a little bit fiddly, but passable. Now you can't stuff these up, as far as I know, as far as putting them back. This one's black, and that one's a nice grey. Now if you look at the back of the airbag, grey, and black. So just put them back to the same colors. Now the other plug was just your button switches. That's just that plug there. Very easy. It's got its little push down lever here. So it would be sitting in your back of your airbag like that. Just push that down, pull it out. 2-second job, really, at the end of the day. So that's actually a nice one. It's got still got all its nice color on it. So, and the buttons are not faded. So that with a bit of a wipe over and clean will go well. Now, it looks a bit like a T50. So these would be probably best with a T50 drill piece, because when you get, I think this is a T50, 1 second, looks pretty good for the T50, and these are normally should be torqued down, but to get to this with one of these, you'd have to put some sort of maybe you'd have to probably put maybe a ring spanner on one side and to be able to get the leverage to turn it around, because that depth is not gonna, we could maybe get, no, my mistake. You can get through just the top of the steering wheel to crack it, so that's good news. You can always put like a little bit of bar over the top of that one, that's a hollow bar over that if it's too tight. If I should say, if it's at its proper tension. Sometimes if people take these off, they're not always put back as tight as they should be. So, all right, let's see how we go with this one. As I suspected, because there was holes missing off the console. You don't know when you get a car. You don't know everything what someone does to it. But I actually literally just used both my hands and just pushed it up with a little bit of pressure, and it actually just turned. So look at that, too easy. Now with these bolts, once you take it all the way out, like I'm doing now, to get the steering wheel off, once the bolt's fully off, you guys, if you don't know, if you haven't done this before, if you don't want a steering wheel in your face, which I learnt in my very early teens, see how it's got a little bit of Loctite too, so make sure you get some bit of Loctite when you put this back on. Just wind it in a few clicks, so you got like, it's got grip and it's got a bit of distance. So when you pull the steering wheel out, I used to, like when I had my LH Tirana in my early days, to get the steering wheel off, we had to really bang, and then I didn't have that nut in once and it went straight into my face. So this is your little bit of tips to make sure you got your bolt in when you're getting this out, up and down, and getting the pressure on it. Instead of going straight into your face, it's going to pull onto that bolt first, and then once it gets to that stage, it's loose, so you can take the bolt out and remove the steering wheel. I'll see how tight this thing is anyway. This one took a little bit of force. Sometimes you can give these the center bits just to not bash so you wreck any sort of chance of the thread, but you can give them a bit of a tap and give them a shake up. And the steering wheel is coming off. So when the new or the next steering wheel I get for this, which I'm going to try to look for a really good used one, so you got to remember to put it on pretty much the same direction that it comes off. So these plugs will pretty much, they should just slide through, ouch, the gap. Second. When you're 6 foot tall, it's not easy sitting on your knees. So these practically should push just through. So now, get on the other side of them. Come on, out you come. There we go. And they're joined at the hip, the airbag ones. So you want to get those out almost first, and then get the switches one off. So there she is. So it's going to go sort of like that when it goes back on. As you can see, let's get on the back of this steering wheel. She's pretty bad. I mean, they deem these as unroadworthy. I reckon they've still got probably some life into them, but the cosmetics of them look terrible. So, but I'd go for a roadworthy over a Viv any day, as you guys know. While that's off, you could give this a nice bit of clean around there. Just make it look a bit more nicer and cosmetic for putting the next steering wheel on. So that's a steering wheel off. Okay, so yeah, you can see that those T30s, they're sort of like a diamond sort of cut sort of thing, if you haven't used these sort of tools before. And they're sort of spring loaded, so I guess they stay in there, I guess. Anyway, that's the steering wheel off. The replacement steering wheel. Look at this, look at that for condition. $100. This is the old one. A really good find. Beautiful condition. So it's time to stick it back on. Let me see if I can just put that over the top. Yeah, that's better. You can see the wear and tear one to the other. So another thing is you can't really go wrong with putting these steering wheels back on, because where these wires go on and that little sort of square section they come out of, there's only one square section that they come out of, so on the actual mould of the steering wheel, so it has to go and can only go one direction. So you have to stick it on. This is what I mean. You've only got one way you can put this steering wheel back on. You can't stuff it up. It won't go on because that part has to come through this part as well. This little rectangular section, and that all sits nice and firmly. So look at that. From when I took the other one off, $100. You can't go wrong with that. And I'll most probably put a steering wheel cover on this one, just so it makes these rubber style steering wheels last longer in the sun and with hand grip and stuff like that. So look at that, very nice. We've got the steering wheel back on, just the same procedure, just in reverse. Just got to clean up a little bit of the buttons with some car cleaner stuff, and yeah, much better result with the steering wheel looking a lot more decent. I'll get a steering wheel cover for it just to prolong its life. Because what's this one? I still can't remember. 2007, 2008 BF. You know, they're already, what was that? Just say it was a 2008. 15-year-old car. So, hey, if this had a Viv, not that it does, but 15 years, it would be, wouldn't need to go through a Viv inspection because it's 15 years plus in Victoria. So anything from 15 years old and that hasn't been put through a Viv yet doesn't need to go through one after 15 years. So keep that in mind if you do get a car. Even FGs and stuff like that, wait till they're 15 years old if you ever get them from an auction. And that's what they don't really advertise so much, as far as when you need one, they want you to, I reckon they want you almost to go get one and get some money into the system. But anyway, more money you can put in your pocket towards your own things that actually last is a better option. Good result. That steering wheel looks very nice.